Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our very first episode. Today, we're going to talk about the cost of living in the Dominican Republic in 2023. But before we do so, I think it's important to share a few words on who we are and why are we talking about this. So my name is Levi.
My name is Andy.
Our little one is Lizzie, and together we are the Familist. We are a family who spent the better half of the last 5 years traveling around the world, and as such we totally understand that this kind of lifestyle is not free from its unique challenges, especially traveling with kids. So on this channel we would like to share a few of our tips and tricks, experiences, ups and downs of living such a sometimes challenging but otherwise a fantastic way of life. And with this being said, I think just let's jump right in to how much does it cost to live a life in the Dominican Republic in 2023. Obviously, there is no one size fits all when it comes to discussing prices in any country. I think it's also important to mention that when we talk about prices and how much different things cost, we primarily mean the place where we live, which is the northern part of the DR. Obviously, like in any country, different parts of the country that are more touristy, let's say Punta Cana, tend to be slightly more expensive, or not slightly.
There is no actual price tag on things here, so it is important to negotiate.
20 shekels. Right. What? They were. Wait a minute. Oh, well, we're supposed to haggle.
Negotiating or just wiggling your way through to get a better price is not an option. It's a must to keep the expenses under control.
Let's jump into the first category.
Obviously, the first and probably the biggest item on everyone's monthly expenses is the rent. When it comes to renting a place in the Dominican Republic, obviously the options are basically endless, and the price is determined by factors that are pretty much valid for any other country. Location, how big the place is, how well equipped it is, for how long you want to sign the contract for. So what's very specific to the DR is that which part of the year are you planning to come here, because there is a high season and a low season. There's a hurricane season that is running from June till November, and a high season from December, March. So rent prices can be significantly higher in a high season. And now talking about actually the prices, what we found in the last 6 months based on our own apartment hunt, looking around, seeing different places, is that a price range of $1,200 to $1,800 US is a realistic ballpark for a 2-bedroom, well-equipped, well-located place. But of course, there are some examples on both ends of the scale. We have friends who told us that they're renting a 1-bedroom in a local area without mosquito nets, without a generator, for as low as $350 a month. So it's possible to find something like that. But again, in that case, expectations shouldn't be so high. And the other end of the scale, obviously, sky is the limit.
Come here, rent out something beforehand for only a week or 2 weeks, and go and search, go house hunting here, and you will have much better deals.
The next category, although not as big as the rent itself, but closely related to it, and those are the monthly utilities and other monthly expenses that are more or less, let's say, mandatory. Now, as a rule of thumb, we can say that most utilities are usually included in the rent in the DR. The only exception to this is the electricity. The reason being, most people tend to run the air cons day and night, and because of that, most landlords or more real estate agents prefer to handle the electricity bill separately from the rent. Personally, for us, because we are usually take it easy on the air cons, we tend to pay roughly 20 to 30 bucks a month for electricity, and everything else is included in our rent. Another monthly expense can be the internet. Again, most of the time it's included in the rent, but if you need a better connection, if you need higher download speeds because of your work or for anything, and if you want to upgrade your pack, a higher speed internet connection would likely set you back by as much as $100 or even more. We're talking about 200 to 300 megabit per second on internet speeds. So what most places come with is usual 20 to 50 megabits per second, and tend to be enough. But again, it's important to know that if you want to upgrade, you're gonna need to pay the price for it. Mobile phones and mobile plans monthly usually come to around $20 for a SIM card. This gives you around 3 to 5 gigabytes and more than enough minutes to see you through a month. And what's also an important monthly expense can be the health insurance. We found a plan that covers the entire family and includes everything except a dentist to come to $160 per month. So just to sum all these monthly expenses up. Electricity, most of the time you pay separately, 20 to 30 bucks if you take it easy on the aircon, and the sky is the limit if you don't. Internet, if you need a higher speed connection, than $100 a month and up. SIM cards starting at $20 a month, and health insurance for a family of 3 to $160.
Next category is the child-related expenses. The schools and nurseries, there are two categories. They are the state-owned schools, which are mostly free for residents. And there are private schools as well, which are mostly in English, which can be really useful. And the prices for these type of schools range around $400 to $800 around this area. Other child-related expense could be the after-school activities. There are a lot of options, from pottery class to jiu-jitsu to football or gymnastics. The price is $10 per occasion. Obviously, if you want to enroll your child for a longer period, this price can go down as well. Summary: private schools are between $400 to $800 a month, and after-school activities $10 per occasion.
The next most important expense, I believe, in everyone's list is grocery shopping and cooking and everything that goes into that. So when it comes to prices, this is the challenge, because everyone has different preferences of how they eat or what they want to eat, different family sizes, so on. It's very hard to give you guys a list of, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to do your grocery shopping. But speaking of lists, this week we just depleted all of our stocks when it comes to the fridge and the cupboard, so we had to do one of the supermarket runs, and now we can serve up some extremely up-to-date prices on some items. I think this is the best way to give you guys some examples of the major food categories or particular items on a shopping list, so you can compare to your home prices to see how much more or less would you spend in your grocery shopping, again depending on your individual habits. A bottle of wine, medium category, nothing too fancy, nothing too dangerous, medium white wine, a bottle is $8. A bag of crisps, $1.40. Pack of sliced cheese, any just average, basic cheese, $3. A bag of frozen shrimp, half a kilo, $8. A melon, $1.60. Sliced bread, or toast bread, $1.30. 1 kilo of oranges, $2.80. 2 kilograms of potato, $3. 1 kilogram of apples, $3. Tomatoes, half a kilo, $1. And tray of eggs, fresh eggs, 18 pieces, $2.60. So again, this obviously, we understand this is not a complete picture, but really hope that this can give you guys an idea.
The other thing here in the DR is you cannot drink the tap water. So you have to order big gallons of water delivered to your home. It is usually cost.
It's a 5-gallon water tank, and it costs $1.40. It's pretty much a going rate all across the country. So you hand in the empty one, they give you the full one, they deliver it home most places, and yeah. But normally I think we go through like two or three of these bigger balloons per week. But again, depending on or your drinking habits, this can be less or more. And I think pretty much that's it about grocery shopping and food prices when it comes to cooking and stuff.
And sometimes you don't feel like cooking at home, or you don't have time for that. So the next category is eating out.
I think just like in other categories, here we can also establish 3 sort of levels or subcategories, starting with how should I call this? That is local, family-run, roadside eateries. where you can find the really traditional, authentic Dominican foods. And what we found is that in these kind of places, you can get a good portion of main course for starting from $4 to $5 each.
And there are the middle range restaurants, like the one we are at now. And the main course here is around $8 to $10.
Yes, and quality is again just taking a step above. We talk about burgers, sushi, Mexican, you name it, whatever floats your boat.
There is the high-end restaurants like the beachside ones or the more trendy restaurants. There, the main course is around $13-15, like starting from that.
And
of course,
when it comes to drinks, coffee to start with, what we found was like starting from $1 to $2, about espressos or short coffees, all the way up to $4 or $5, depending if you want something foamy, creamy, flavored coffee creation. Juices and cocktails.
They are around $4 each, so you can choose a more healthy or less healthy options.
Yeah, the adventurous or less adventurous options. When it comes to prices, obviously almost every place runs a happy hour here in the DR, so you can easily find yourself a deal and grab 2 cocktails for the price of 1. That's pretty much common here. And just to throw a last example at you guys, for example, a bottle of beer would probably set you back by $3 to $4 if we are talking about a local Dominican beer, and $4, $5, even $6 if you're looking at an imported beer like this one, or just the brands that I'm pretty sure you know well. So just to sum this up, roadside, family-run, little places, prices starting from $4 or $5 for a meal. Mid-range restaurants, this goes up to $8 to $10. Higher-end, fancy restaurants, beachside restaurants tend to start at $15 to $16 and up, and the drinks are just what we told you a second ago.
So the next category is a big one. It is transportation. If you want to rent a car or a motorcycle, there is a way to do that. We would recommend you not to rent it from the airport because usually the prices are way higher. It is better to go to your destination and do the rentals there. Which car we've been offered to rent was $600 a month, which is really good. Regarding the motorcycles, we did rent a motorcycle for a month, which was $200 for us, but from some people said that they could do it a little bit cheaper as well. So that is also an option.
And again, there is another option for those who doesn't want to take part in the quite unique driving culture of the Dominican Republic. The public options such as moto taxis, local buses, or so-called guaguas or taxis. Let's start with the first one, the more budget option, are the moto taxis and guaguas. On a going rate for $1 to $2, these can take someone from A to B quite easily. There are plenty of hundreds of moto taxis are roaming up and down looking for clients. Guaguas are also fairly frequent, so this is a very cheap, very affordable option to get from one place to another here in the DR. And then we talk about taxis. Now, taxis are quite interesting here, let's put it this way. What worked for us, this is a prime example to what we said in the beginning, that sometimes you need to wiggle your price down a little bit to make it more manageable. We found that first time the taxi driver gives you a price, that's an absolute no-go. For an example, between Sosua and Cabarete, that is roughly 15 miles, most taxi drivers try to charge you $20-25 and up. For us, in the last 6 months, we found that we can get a price all the way down to as low as $10 to $15. And the key to this, and this is also one of those useful tips we mentioned, is that if you find a taxi driver here that you like, take his phone number or her phone number, and just stick to the same guys, because these people, obviously, because it's recurring business for them, tend to give much better prices for those passengers. So just to sum this all up, starting with the rental option, if you want to rent a decent mid-range car, that's around $600 a month. For a motorbike or a small scooter, $200 a month. If you want to take the budget option and ride a mototaxi or a guagua, $1 to $2 per trip. And the taxis for an average distance between two towns, 10-15 miles, shouldn't set you back more than $10-15. When it comes to living in a place like the Dominican Republic, obviously many people, including us, makes this choice because in a place like this you can live a much more active, much healthier lifestyle, and sports or exercises are a very important part of that kind of life. When it comes to finances, of course, there are some completely free options that doesn't cost you a single penny. Just come down, do some jogging on the beach, or go out swimming. Either normal surf lesson. Started from they gave us the first price was $50. We could manage to haggle and bring it down to $30. That was like one occasion, 1 or 2 hours with an instructor, and the board is included. They just basically give you the board, show you the basics, and then off you go. But kite surfing?
Yeah, there is a friend of ours went to a kite surfing course. It was like for a month, and they paid the $600, and it is like showed all the tricks and the tips for beginners how to start kite surfing.
Especially because there was much more equipment involved, the kite, all those strings, everything. You can tell that I'm not really a professional in this topic. And again, the learning curve is much steeper, so that's why the bigger investment. But if you are not running or jogging or swimming or riding the waves in one form or the other, there are of course plenty of other options to stay fit or get fit, such as, and this is something that you know much better than I do, yoga or Pilates.
Yes, there are many different classes, from yoga to dance classes. The most common is bachata, which is really fun. We tried it once.
She did.
The going rate for these classes usually $10 per occasion.
Yes, and I for my part, I sometimes go and see, and there is a local bunch of guys who just play football, or for our American friends, soccer, and it costs like $5-6 one time just to put together the money for renting the pitch. And the last one that I would include here in this category are the gyms. There are a couple of options here and there in the Cabarete Sosua region. What I found so far in the last 6 months is that from $20 a month to all the way up to $65 a month, we have an unlimited gym access and gym membership that also sometimes includes classes of CrossFit and this kind of. Someone prefers to do that kind of workout. It's definitely possible. So just to sum this all up, free of charge, so all the way from being free like jogging and swimming to water sports, starting from $30-50 per surf lesson all the way up to $500-600 to doing kite surfing, and then any other forms of getting into shape, yoga and so on, which is the going rate. Usually the flat rate is around $10 per occasion. And with this, I think we arrived to the end of the list, and the very last category we have for you guys is the things to do. Obviously, that also costs money. Luckily, here in the DR, places like the DR, probably one of the best things to do is just go to the beach and hang out, and that doesn't cost a penny. It's free of charge.
And time to time, there are some events going on. Last time it was a carnival, which was really fun. And a couple of months ago, there was a jazz festival right on the beach. So there are things to do for free, for sure.
Yeah, and now I'm not really such thing as getting bored of hanging out on the beach, but if that happens, then there are still lots of other things to do here in the DR. You can go and discover the island. Last time we went to a place called the Monkey Jungle, the Monkey Experience. It was so much fun, especially with kids, because you have these little so-called cappuccino monkeys jumping around on your head, eating from your hands, and
they're so cute.
They're so cute and funny. Cost for a family, I think it was like $30 per person. It takes like a half an hour to get there, and depending if you have your own car or a taxi or whatever. But the entry ticket itself is $30.
Also, we went to Puerto Plata, which is nearby, and we went up with the teleférico, which is a cable car up to the hill. Yeah, it cost us like $30 for the three of us. So yeah, just to give you an example of prices going out and hanging out.
Yeah, again, so the bottom line is very hard to attach price tags to these kind of things. So that's something that might require you guys to do a bit further research. I know we threw many numbers and data at you in this 20 or so minutes, but really hope that we could manage to give a good broad idea of how much life costs here in the Dominican Republic in 2023. So if you guys have any specific questions, just hit us up in the comments. As we said in the beginning, this was our very first YouTube episode, this the Familist. So we really hope that you're gonna join to this whole adventure and follow us through our travels. And with this, I think it's really time to wrap things up. We don't promise any topics for next time. It's just gonna be, random, whatever life throws at us.